with Sustaining Technologies. We're the developers of the Go Local Rewards Card, and we also manage the Sonoma County Go Local Cooperative, which I'm assuming is anyone not familiar with the cooperative, the Go Local Cooperative? Okay, so I have to kind of explain that. So one of the things we want to talk about today, because it's something we've had to grapple with for the last 3 years. Prior to Sustaining Technologies and Go Local, I was a national marketing consultant for BALI, which is the Business Alliance for Local Living Economies, and worked from the very beginning stages of trying to understand the dynamics, the social dynamics
Can you talk a little bit louder?
Okay, sure. Maybe I'll move that a little closer.
Yeah.
Okay. And so this has kind of been a continuing bug for me in the software of local economics and of establishing a shift back to something that existed before but people have forgotten. Over the last 60 years, global corporation market share of local retail goods and services has gone from about 2% to about 80%. And in that, it's sort of that the frog in the water, that gradually heating the water sort of thing. And so it almost seems like a foreign concept. Now, when we talk local economic development and favoring locally owned businesses first, we get a reaction sometimes, particularly from electeds and from economic development folks, like, what are you talking about? Well, 50 years ago, this was the way it was. And so last year, I had to do a presentation in Canada, in Ontario, for about 300 economic development folks. And one of the ways of reaching them was to kind of go back to that era, that time in the 1950s, when we started making an economic transition in a way that was also, we were starting to make some health transitions in healthcare. And so play a video for them of a Camel cigarette TV commercial. I don't know if you guys have seen one of those in a long time, but I found one where they had two doctors that were endorsing smoking. They were talking about how fun it was, and the whole room of these economic development guys are just laughing. This is the funniest thing they've ever seen. And they were laughing because it was kind of so absurd, right, that MDs were sponsoring and promoting smoking right along with all the big tobacco companies. And today we see that that is just like so absurd that it's funny, in that absurd sort of dark humor way. And so the question posed to them is, okay, well, what are you doing today that 50 years from now people are going to be sitting in this room laughing about these absurd policies that you constantly fund to the tunes of trillions of dollars?
I'm going to try and restart.
Oh, okay. Because I have my computer too.
Yeah, I have one too.
Oh, okay. And so, anyway, we've been looking at this because it's so hard. So why should this be so hard, right? To talk to people about favoring local businesses, making sure we become more self-reliant. So we've gone the other way. We're now very dependent. Most of you are probably aware that in Sonoma County, we import 82% of all of our fruits and vegetables. In a county that can grow a zucchini by throwing a seed on the sidewalk on a sunny day, and we're importing 82% of our fruits and vegetables. And 1.6 billion in food and beverage sales, 85% of that is global chain corporations controlling the distribution and retail of that. And so it seems crazy that it's almost like a natural, it'd be like the Saudis importing oil or something.
Right.
You know? I mean, it's just kind of crazy that we do that. And so how do we become more self-reliant? And we have to be smarter about what our resources are and what our opportunities are. And so Go Local and Sustaining Technologies, you know, part of what we're trying to do is to find those social behavior triggers that can be more widespread, because I know if most of you, I'm sure, work in either the sustainability field or one of these progressive fields, you know that you feel like you're just preaching to the choir a lot. You know, we've got our little cliques and we kind of stay in that, and then when you talk to someone who's you considering mainstream, and you're like an alien, you know, that's kind of dropped down. And so there's that frustration that where do we get to that tipping point? And so lately I've been looking at some different examples of that. And one I can share with you. I didn't plan on doing this much lead up to this, so bear with me. Shadow puppet. Is the study of the civil rights movement and Rosa Parks. So what happened? Why did the civil rights movement all of a sudden get sparked by Rosa Parks' arrest on the bus in Montgomery, Alabama on that one day, when prior to that, for the 3 or 4 years prior to that, there had been a long list of blacks who were arrested for violating the segregation laws, for refusing to get off their seat. They'd even had one police shooting and killing of a person who resisted arrest. None of those incidents sparked the kind of civil rights movement that we saw. So what were the conditions, what were the circumstances that created, within 1 week, a boycott of the bus lines, of all the black ministers getting together and forming the coalitions that could create all this political activism that didn't stop for 9 years or 10 years, right? Or even to this day, but I'm saying for the flashpoint of it. And so those are the same sorts of things that we have to find, and that's what we're looking for within the work we're doing. And part of it, if you're interested, Charles Durig's work on this, and he uses that specific example of Rosa Parks and why that became so important to the civil rights movement. And so we're looking for that same sort of flashpoint where we can reach those tipping points within the population around local economic development as well. And so that's hopefully what I'm going to be able to express through the rewards card. And so how are we looking?
I think we're getting closer. We at least have screen. If we can get operating system, I think we're
But the
golden.
problem is you're not going to have Keynote. I don't think.
Ew.
I have Keynote.
That's right.
Let's get my computer.
Apologies for the technical difficulties. It's right up. The other one's hanging.
I don't have my glasses on, so if I open the wrong one. Whoops. Okay, so our slogan, rewards card, it pays to buy local. So part of appealing to the mainstream, and we've sort of got past the notion of just appealing to the altruism of the folks who are already, like the people in this room, who this stuff already resonates with, right? That's the preaching to the choir part. But there's a large, vast group population out there that is very cost benefit, is very, what's in it for me? So almost the extreme of what Niels was talking about, of the self-interest. They've really taken that to heart, right? So we know that we also have to appeal to that. If we can't just like shove this down people's throats, because they don't want to be preached to, they want to be included, but you have to appeal to where they are. So the first thing to know about what the rewards card is finding something that's familiar, right? If I tried to explain this as a local currency, mutual credit clearing system, blah, 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 then people, their eyes roll back in their head. So part of the first change is to say, look, it's a debit card. It's a debit card for Go Local Box. And Go Local Box is a local currency. Okay, so that's even getting a little bit forward. You got to introduce some new concepts, right? So Go Local Box, you're going to earn them and you're going to spend them, and this is a debit card, and it works just like your regular debit card. It's just through a card swipe device. Ultimately, for the folks who are more interested, our goal for this is also create local capital formation through both the currency as well as US dollar currencies to start pooling resources through the cooperative by getting all the locally owned businesses working together and starting to work with all the local financial institutions. So we have both our Go Local bucks as well as the US dollar, but at least within these cooperatives. I'm going to have to go a little faster right now. Okay. So I'm just going to play, rather than me try to explain this to you guys, I've got a little video here that explains what Go Local Bucks is, and then only a couple more slides after that, so that'll be much better. Hopefully the sound.
Audio.
In a few minutes, you'll hear about Go Local Rewards.
That's coming off mine.
We believe it helps local business owners accomplish the two things we hear most. That is, bring me new customers, help me keep them happy, and do it for cost fair.
Sorry.
Here's
And now we have nothing.
I'm going to pause this.
I think can everybody hear it?
Yeah, we hear it.
Can you hear it off the
Yeah.
computer?
Okay.
Sorry.
I'm going to take it back
Go
just
back,
a
yeah.
little bit, if you guys don't mind. Ordinarily, I have my auxiliary speakers.
For the next few minutes, you'll hear about the Go Local Rewards card. We believe it helps local business owners accomplish the two things we hear most. That is, bring me new customers, help me keep them happy, and do it for a cost that's fair. So now let's get started on a tour of becoming a rewards card merchant. Go Local provides regular credit card-like cards to customers of our rewards merchants, and the cards are free. As a merchant, there are two ways to play it. You can do it old school, what we call show the card. Card holders show you their card, you give them a discount. It's down and dirty simple. Then there's the cutting edge way. Go Local bucks and loyalty rewards, electronically processed at point of sale. Here's a quick clip of how this works.
Having your usual today? Yeah, my usual. And I have my Go Local card. It's the 11th cup, it's free. And there you go. Enjoy. That brace is the best.
Of course, we'd like you to choose the electronic option. It helps measure the results, it engages customers, and it sets in motion our local currency, Go Local bucks. Now, here's how Go Local bucks works. A Go Local
I'm going to pause this for just a second. It's one of the chief problems in local currency, particularly for the paper currencies, is it's hard to really keep track of how much is in circulation, how much is being traded, and all of that. And what we're discovering with this and looking at all the data that's flowing through right now is we know any minute of any day exactly how much is flowing through the system, where it's being traded, which good customers are visiting which businesses that are also related so that we can help all of those businesses connect with one another and connect their customer bases and all of that. So the measuring results part is both for the aggregate of the network as well as for each individual player to understand how well they're doing within this, and also help for the cardholders to have a recognition and accounting of how much they're spending through the process and how much they're moving the currency around.
buck equals $1 US. Cardholders earn Go Local bucks by buying stuff from you and other rewards merchants. And they can also spend those Go Local bucks from you and others. So what gets spent here stays here, locally where we want it. Now here's an example. You be the merchant, I'll be the customer. Let's say you offer 5% of a purchase in Go Local bucks to give back to customers. I have $10 in an appetite and you have a sandwich and a drink. I pay you the $10. You process my rewards card and enter the transaction amount, $10. And the reward system puts 50 cents in Go Local bucks, which is 5%, on my card and subtracts the same amount from your account. Now, if that sounds familiar, that's because it works like a debit card. As a matter of fact, it is a Go Local bucks debit card. Automatically, adding, subtracting Go Local Box back and forth between your account and your customers. Remember, merchants are giving customers Go Local Box when customers buy something. It's not a discount. Instead, it's a credit put on their card that they can use later. It's kind of like paying it forward. Take a look at this rewards account statement that merchants see on their profile pages at the Go Local website. It displays each customer transaction.
You guys can't see that as well, but this is just really accounting.
You can download the transaction files for reports. As well as look at this dashboard for primary stats like past 30-day sales, numbers of transactions, and who your top customers are. In addition to Go Local Box.
I'm going to move ahead a little bit because we're running a little bit. The rest of it is really explaining to merchants how it works and how the cost of it works. Let's go to the next. So this is kind of our trajectory on our sales. The first year was really us just trying to understand the behavior of the software. The second year is where we started to learn the behavior, the social behavior of cardholders and merchants. And while this all seems like it ought to be like a no-brainer, at least that's what we thought when we first started all of this, there's really a lot of stuff to learn in all of this, just how you communicate it, how you get people to do these things. And so you can see where we went with that. And it's what we're learning is the marketing power and the network effects of all this. So it's really for us about learn, revise, and then go. And just keep running really tight cycles of learning this stuff. And really local first in the messaging that we've done with that, so that's been all the Bali marketing of choosing the local businesses first, is cultivating people to supporting and working cooperatively and collaboratively as opposed to competitively. And that's how you start these ripple effects. That's where you get the network effects of viral marketing. And then so what's our goal? And this is really what we try to establish with everybody we work with, is this is the global market share now and the local market share, and really what we're trying to do is to flip that market share. So our goal over the next 10 years is to roll back. It's never going to go, if any of you were listening to Rob Eiler earlier, it's not like we want to decimate global corporations at all. We just want to bring it back into balance where there's really, our main goal is to promote local self-reliance. And so how those two things work together is that we have to change the habits and the beliefs. That's that social change that I was talking about earlier. That's the Rosa Parks moment for economics. And so the local first helps establish a new belief, and then the rewards card helps people start a new habit, just to get used to that, so this is physical, tangible thing that they're using. So anyway, that's that. And hope if you have any questions. I know we're kind of running behind now, so we got to kind of speed up. Any questions? Maybe take one question.
How do you get a Go Local rewards card?
We haven't figured that part out yet, but when we do, yeah. No, you can go any of our merchants. So that's what we figured out last year, is in order to grow the number of card holders, is we gave them to our merchants. So if you go on our website, or you go on your mobile app, or you go or you pick up one of the directories, they will give you a card. The electronic merchants give out the cards. You can also get one by joining Go Local, but you can get them free from the merchants. They have, and we have them here for you guys specifically. If you want one, just go over to the other building, and we're giving out rewards cards. So thank you.
Yay!